Hi, it's Darnell with Way of Living Recipes. Today I'm going to be cooking up some cinnamon roll bread using a recipe I found in the Zojirushi Breadmaker cookbook. I'm going to be doing that in my Zojirushi Virtuoso Breadmaker. I'm going to see how this cinnamon roll bread turns out right now. Okay, for the cinnamon roll bread, it takes some ingredients going into the bread pan. I've already made sure that I have the paddles in the bread pan pointing the same direction. This is 240 ml of milk, so pouring that on in there. Our next ingredient are 2 large eggs that have been beaten, so pouring those into the bread pan. And next we have 4 1/4 cups of bread flour, so getting that into our bread pan. Our next ingredient is 1/4 cup of sugar, so I'm putting that on the edges here. Trying to put like maybe about half of it over here, maybe about the other half over there. Our next ingredient is 2 teaspoons of salt. I always use kosher salt, and so I'm going to get those in. As I always like to mention, nothing in this video is sponsored. And we got our 2 teaspoons of salt in. I put 1 on each edge. And now before I put my next ingredient in, which is unsalted butter, I'm just going to make a small well for my yeast with the end of the knife that hasn't been touched by the butter that I'm going to put in, but basically it's 2.5 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and so I'm just going to take the pieces and put them in on the edges of the bread pan here, the baking pan. So just kind of carefully getting those on the edges because I don't want those to contaminate my well where I'm putting the yeast in a moment. Now the last ingredient for this part is the bread machine yeast. I'm getting 2 teaspoons of bread machine yeast and just putting those in that little well in the middle that I made for myself to add that in because you don't want that yeast getting activated too fast. All right, now I'm going to take this baking pan, put it into the bread maker, lock it in, close it up. Okay, now I've got you in close and we're going to have to do some programming of things. So I'm going to press the course button down here till I get to 15. So I'm just going down to 15. And now that I'm in course 15, this is where I have to start doing my programming. And so I'm going to start hitting the cycle button. And to start, I want my first rest to be 0. And then I'm going up to kneading. I want to adjust my kneading down to 15 minutes, so I'm pressing the time button down to 15. And now I press the cycle button again to go up to the next portion of what I'm going to program. Now in shape, I need to go up to 1 hour for shape. And now I'm going to hit the cycle button again, go up to my first rise. I'm going to set my first rise up to 45 minutes, so going down to 45 or up to 45. It moves kind of quick, but there we go on 45. Now I go up on the cycle button again to my second rise. Second rise is going to be 25 minutes, so I'm going to put that in at 25. Going to hit the cycle button again. Go up to my third rise. Third rise is 55 minutes. So basically going up to 55 there. And now I hit the cycle button again and I'm up to my bake time. My baking time is going to be 55 minutes. So I'm dropping bake down to 55 minutes. Now that I have baked at 55 minutes, I hit the cycle button. Keep warm is set to off. And I can just hit up again. So going to hit the start button and let that go ahead and start doing its work. I'll come on back in a little bit. Alright, so it's finished that kneading time and then the beep came for shaping it, and so you're supposed to get it out after the beep for shaping it and put it on a surface that has some flour to work with. So I'm just sprinkling down some flour on the surface here that I'll put the dough ball on. So the kneading, doesn't take very long. The first step goes pretty quick. And I won't be needing these rods anymore. So I'm getting the rods out because in the upcoming steps, the rods won't be necessary. So taking those out. And I'm taking my dough, and basically I'm going to roll my dough up into a ball. I'm supposed to make a dough ball. So I'm basically just kind of getting my ball form, and then I'll put it over into this bowl here, and it's supposed to be covered up and allowed to rest for like 30 minutes or so. So we'll go through that process, getting a little of the extra dough I see in there out. Let's see if I can get a nice ball, try and remove some of my grooves in my dough ball so that it's nicely formed. So just take care of that. Alright, now I've got my dough ball formed. Just going to put it in this bowl there. I'm just going to cover that bowl up so that my dough can just kind of set and rise for a while. So I'll bring you back in 30 minutes. Alright, so my dough's had 30 minutes to set and rest. I'm taking it, setting it back here. And I'm just taking a little milk and just pouring it into the bowl. I'll just need that to kind of spread on the dough in a moment, you'll see. So now with this dough, I'm just going to sprinkle down a bit more of my bread flour that I have for sprinkling, just to use on the surface here while I prep the dough some more. At this point, I've got my rolling pin also, and I'm just going to start rolling this dough out on the pad here. Alright, now you're supposed to roll the dough out to be 12 by 12 inches. I think I've gone probably a little larger than 12 by 12, but I do believe that we'll be okay with that. And so I'm just going to take some milk. I'm going to put milk, spread it out up to about maybe 3/4 high on this dough here. So just basically spreading the milk out. Now that I've got the milk spread out, I've got a mixture of 5 tablespoons of sugar mixed with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And you're supposed to basically sprinkle this mixture out all over this area where the milk was placed. That's kind of your cinnamon filling in your cinnamon rolls. So I'm just going to continue sprinkling it out all over. I'm just going to put a little bit more milk up higher here, just to kind of maybe put a little bit more cinnamon sugar mix up there. And I'm surprised this mixture of sugar and cinnamon is going a lot further than I thought it would. The Breadmaker is beeping because I actually hit start by accident after it did the beeping for the shape phase where I'm supposed to shape it. So it's beeping because it's expecting to already be running again. But it'll be okay. It can just hang out for a moment. Alright, now I got my cinnamon sugar mixture all placed out. Now you're supposed to basically make your roll by rolling this up. So Lord willing, I can do a decent roll. So I'm trying to get it rolled up very carefully. Alright, so I've got my big huge roll together. And so now what you do is you're supposed to make cuts to make 10 pieces. So let's see how well I'm able to do with that. So I've ended up with basically 12 cinnamon rolls instead of 10. I've made a dozen. So I guess at this point, if you wanted to just make cinnamon rolls, you could put them in an oven and bake them, and you have yourself some nice cinnamon rolls. But for cinnamon roll bread, you put them into the baking pan of the bread machine. I've already taken those kneading rods out, as I mentioned earlier, so those won't be in the way. And you just basically arrange them around inside of the baking pan. Alright, so now I've just got a bunch of cinnamon rolls in my baking pan. And I'm going to go ahead and close up at this point. And since I've already hit start, it's going to just basically continue from this point. But I'll bring you back later. It's going to go through the other phases and make us this cinnamon roll bread. Alright, time's up. So I'm hitting cancel and just moving it up a little bit so that it doesn't hit my cabinet when I open. But there's our finished cinnamon roll bread. So I'm going to get it out. I'm going to carefully put it out on this serving tray here. And now I'm going to just turn it right side up. But there it is. It looks beautiful. It just looks beautiful. So just gonna let it start cooling for a moment. Alright, so what I have here is a half a cup of powdered sugar. And I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of water into that powdered sugar just to break it down a little bit. So I'm just getting my 2 teaspoons of water. There's 1. And here's my 2nd teaspoon of water. And now I'm just going to basically whisk that to break it down good. Now what you can do, you could put this into like a pastry bag and kind of squeeze it out onto your cinnamon roll bread. I'm just going to kind of gently drizzle, let it drizzle out all over the bread, and just try and keep the bowl moving as I drizzle. But you know, this is looking fantastic, is all I can say. It looks great. So I'm just going to let it continue to drizzle out like this here, and decorate this cinnamon roll bread. Alright, that looks great. I'm just going to let that rest for a moment. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off a piece of this cinnamon roll bread. I mean, it's just like a mountain of cinnamon rolls, literally. This is awesome. So just slice that off there. Look at that. Look at that. That is, wow. Taste test time. Alright, what could be better than warm cinnamon roll bread? Let's taste it. It's delicious. I mean, it's like cinnamon roll, but it's a big loaf of bread at the same time. I mean, it's great stuff. This is Zojirushi Virtuoso Breadmaker. Fabulous. That's all I can say. Fabulous stuff. So, you know, this is Zojirushi's recipe. I'll have a link in the video description to their like recipe book for all their recipes and such. You can also find a referral link for this cooker in the video description as well. And, you know, you can find other recipes for like this cooker and others on my blog at superwaveovenrecipes.com. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at waveovenrecipes.com. You can always get to this YouTube channel by going to waveovenrecipes.com. Bring it right here. Also in the video description, you'll find other ways that you can help this channel. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and good eating.